Hello everyone and welcome back to the SteemTrail Gaming News. Today is what is it today? Today's the 9th of March 2018. My name is Kralizec and I will be your host for the evening. I gotta repeat it again, I'm bad with dates. Today we got 3 stories for you guys. Well, first we're going to take a look at the video that the White House representatives, more specifically Donald Trump, shown to the gaming executives on the meeting that was held yesterday. Secondly, we're going to talk about the fact that Fortnite Battle Royale has been announced for mobile devices. And last of all, we're going to talk about the fact that Valve wants to make games again. So let's start with Donald Trump. So this is a continuation of a story that has been unfolding over the last several weeks. It started with a mass shooting in Florida that left, sadly, 17 people dead. It continued with some representatives, I think it was a governor, saying that video games are partially responsible. Escalated to President Donald Trump saying that video games, more specifically violent video games, are partially responsible for mass shootings. And then there was sort of an announcement of a meeting that's going to be held. Then the people who were supposed to be at a meeting were like, we don't know anything about it. It was like, okay, we're just planning a meeting. And the meeting was finally held. So it was about a few hours long meeting between the representatives from the White House and the representatives of the gaming industry. For the gaming industry, there were some representatives from the ESA, that's the Entertainment Software Association. There was some people from the ESRB, which is the ratings boards in America, and the chief executives of Bethesda and Take-Two. Sort of on the opposite side of the discussion was an author of books that claim that violent video games make people violent, essentially that they train killers. There was a member of the Parents Television Council, and obviously some representatives from the White House, as they were coming out with the claims that violent video games are causing violence in the real world. And during the meeting, there was a video shown. A video showing how horrifying video games are in terms of their violence. And we're going to take a look at this video right now. Yeah, people getting shot, somebody getting stabbed and silenced, getting a knife in their eye, I guess. Somebody getting killed with some hatchets. Yeah, brutally murdered. Hatchet in the face. What is it going to be, this one? Somebody's just getting hooked. This is a pretty infamous scene from one of the Call of Duty games where you just kill a bunch of people at the airport. Yeah. Games sometimes show these things. Some things like general killing, you know, this is from Wolfenstein pretty obviously. More Wolfenstein, yeah, you plunge a sword in his head. Headshots from Fallout. Yeah, I know, it's just your general gaming shit. I don't think anybody's saying that this shit isn't in games. The question is this causing violence? That is the real question that has to be asked. There are a few sniper shots, etc. Again, this isn't stuff that is really that... Button. Okay, should be back. This stuff isn't surprising to anyone who plays games. We all know these things actually are in games, and we're not saying they aren't. What we are actually saying is studies show there is no direct correlation between video game violence and real world violence. And that's pretty much our point. There really isn't that much else to say to this. We can talk a bit more about meaning, and we will, but when it comes to the larger issue of whether gaming actually causes people to be violent, I don't think there is any sort of proof that would claim that. And that would claim that with a decent, well, what's it called? There's that level of like correlation to causation. I don't remember what's it called. But, what exactly we said, the ESA, they didn't offer any sort of statement regarding the meeting. They just had their bland, shitty statement. It was like, we welcome the opportunity today to meet with the president and other elected officials at the White House. We discussed the numerous scientific studies establishing that there is no connection between video games and violence, First Amendment protection of video games, and how our industry's rating system effectively helps parents make informed entertainment choices. We appreciate the President's receptive and comprehensive approach to these discussions. Yeah, that's actually a good... You know what? I'm not going to call this statement bland. I guess they don't want to go into the details because, you know, it's the White House and they want to be careful. They're probably going to allow the White House to make their larger, more specific statement first, and then they will reply to it, maybe. But in general, they said exactly what every single normal gamer is saying. There is no direct correlation found between video game violence and real-world violence. If you want to talk about the fact that it probably isn't ideal to buy one of these games for your 6-year-old, I'm fine with that discussion, but the discussion isn't whether the state should say you cannot buy these games. The question is, how do we inform parents that this maybe isn't ideal? Same way parents make decisions whether they should take their child to see a movie that would have the same levels of violence. Actually worse, because in a movie it looks much more realistic. Yes, this obviously sometimes it's top-notch graphics, but still it is very easily visible that these are computer-generated characters and there is nobody actually getting hurt. And I think that is actually a reason why video game violence is, if at all, less, what's the word, less responsible for real world violence than movies would be. And actually books, because books, I know it's just words on a piece of paper, but you know, the brain is the most powerful computer in the world, and your brain can create some serious shit. Like, I remember some of my dreams, and those were fucking violent. Like, blood splattered, you know, and whenever I was dealing with a situation where I felt the only way to respond was with force, but I didn't, because that's not what humans do in today's society. But your brain still needs to deal in some way with the anger. So it does it, for example, in dreams. And a good way to influence dreams is by reading books, because they stimulate your imagination. So in general, what I really just want to say is I want to hear a statement from the White House. If there will be a statement from the White House about this, I will definitely report on it. And the second thing I want to say is I just don't believe there is some direct causation of real-world violence by video game violence. I just don't believe it, because I haven't seen any real, scientific, provable, repeatable, experimentally evidence that would support that claim. Okay, let's move on from this very political subject to something that is purely gaming. Let's talk about Fortnite Battle Royale coming to mobile devices. So there was a blog post by Epic Games, which I'm sort of going to read, not fully. It's a pretty short post. You can find it if you go to epicgames.com/fortnite/enus/news/mobile announce. You know what? Just search for Epic Games blog. It will be the most easiest thing to do. And they're announcing that there's going to be a cross gaming section for PlayStation 4, PC, Mac, which is essentially already there, and eventually for iOS coming, and eventually even for Android. Right now you can sign up to possibly get an invite into the iOS testing phase. Essentially you need only an internet connection and an iOS 11 at least device, which means an iPhone 6s or SE, iPad mini 4, iPad Pro, Air 2, and all the 2017 iPad devices. And then you will be able to try out Fortnite Battle Royale on your mobile device. I'm pretty sure they will actually want to bring it to Android as soon as possible, because in America, yes, obviously iOS has a pretty big market share, but here in Europe, especially if you go more west than, let's say, Germany, most people are using Android. And in general, more people are using Android than they are using iOS. The truth is, iOS users are usually more willing to spend money, so that's probably the reason why they're giving it to iOS first. But if they also want to go into markets like India, China, and most of the world where phones are being used, they will have to make a version for Android as well. And I gotta say, I'm not completely sure whether I will even try this. I'm not a big fan of, let's call it, AAA gaming on mobile. I just don't see why would I do it if I have a real gaming computer here in front of me with a keyboard and a mouse and nice monitor. I can wear good headphones or have a some good speakers. And the user experience compared to mobile is just very different. And I don't want to play for 2-3 hours, let's say, because that's, you know, let's call that the usual gaming session for an average person. Oh no, an average person will probably have an hour, but still, I don't want to play for an hour on my iPhone or my iPad or tablet in general, because first of all, it will get hot as fuck, and holding something hot is just not pleasant. Obviously, my computer gets hot as well, but that's there under the table, and I don't really give a shit. In the end, it's actually nice now in the winter, as I have to pay less for heating, because my computer is producing like 400, maybe 500 watts of pure thermal energy. Obviously, in the summer, it's a bit of a different story. But on top of that, the user interface is just shit in mobile. Like, I still don't understand how people play anything precisely in mobile. I really don't. And on top of that, I probably have to have a pretty decent device as a tablet or a phone. And I'm really not the kind of person who spends like $1,000 for the phone. I just don't see why would I do that. Not even $1,000, let's say $500 for their phone. Like, what's the point? How much will my user experience be improved compared to a phone that will cost me like 200 bucks? Will it be improved by 10%? I don't think so. I think actually my user experience will be improved by such a minuscule amount. The change in the price doesn't warrant the increase in price. But in any way, I'm pretty sure Epic will make their money quickly, because the mobile market is very used to microtransactions. People are willing to spend on microtransactions, and because they have the technology behind them and the Unreal Engine actually works already on mobile, they probably don't have to spend that much on development. Probably they just like low scale the textures, etc., etc., making the actual costs of the mobile version of Fortnite Battle Royale not so bad in my opinion. That meaning that they will make a profit pretty rapidly in my opinion. Okay, and let's move on to the last piece of news for today, which is about Valve. And who doesn't know them? They are the creators of such awesome games as Half-Life, Portal, even Dota 2. But most famously, for the average consumer, they are most known because they are the owners of the biggest gaming store in the world, Steam. Not to be confused with Steam, this is the gaming store. And there's even sort of a meme about Valve going in. There's like, Valve, we used to make games. Now we make money. And they now want to make games as well. That's great news. So this happened during an event that was talking about the upcoming card game Artifact, which is also being produced by Valve. That they said that Artifact is the first of several games that are going to be coming from us. Yay! There's more games coming from this great studio. My only concern at this point is, hasn't it been too long? Do they still remember what made their games great? Do they still have the same persona? The same people in their company who would be capable of creating such content. Obviously, they do have the money to hire people capable of making great content. I don't think a single person in the world would be able to dispute that. But yeah, it's just a nice thing. And we gotta see what Valve has in store for their store for us. And with that being said, that's going to be it for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, please consider giving us a thumbs up here on YouTube and subscribing to this channel. If you are watching this on Steam, maybe you want to give us an upvote and follow our blog. Either way, be sure to leave a comment. Tell me, do you think the video shown by Donald Trump and his team shows that video games actually cause real-world violence? Or leave a comment that is to either of the two news pieces. Be sure to tune in also tomorrow, because tomorrow is the day where the game... Oh no, it's not. Tomorrow is Saturday. So tomorrow will be more gaming news for you guys. One only thing, it will be a bit earlier tomorrow because I have some personal issues that need to be solved. With that being said, see you guys later with more gaming content.